Hey, what is up, my YouTube minions? I have another battle here, and this time against Zangetsublack. And as many of you know, when I accept challenges on Twitch, I typically build teams kind of like on the spot. I throw them together using requests from people in the chat, and I usually try to make them work. But this time, as soon as I put through it together, I got online. I'm like, well, I have a huge psychic weakness on this particular team. Hopefully, he doesn't bring a psychic type like Tapu Lele, and there's Tapu Lele. So, this is going to be real interesting against Zangetsublack. Hoping that I can maybe, because I have a couple Pokemon that can stop. If he has a Scarf Tapu Lele, I have a couple Pokemon that can, maybe, stop that from sweeping me. But we're going to have to play this a little bit smart. Anyway, so he's going to go ahead and lead with Smeargle as I lead with Heatran. And, yeah, I've just decided to go for the taunt, so pretty good move right off the bat for me, because obviously he's not going to be able to set up anything like that Spore. Or any hazards, and now I'm going to go ahead and set up my hazard. Now, he does have Nuzzle, obviously, which is, in many respects, pretty much a better version of Thunder Wave at this point, because it doesn't actually count as a status move, but it hits just as often. So, there you go. He's going to get the paralysis on my Heatran as he goes out into Garchomp, which is a good move. I was so close to hitting Will-O-Wisp here, but it actually doesn't even matter. I went for a Fire Blast, I think. But no, I end up getting paralyzed anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to go out into my Gyarados, get the Intimidate, obviously, and this is actually a Z-Splash Gyarados I've been trying to get off. Now, obviously, I don't think Z-Splash is the greatest move, but, it definitely is kind of interesting, and I wanted to get it off so badly, but he's going to predict this and go for a Stone Edge, which is an excellent prediction, and I was stuck with, now what do I do? I decided just to go for it. Maybe he'll miss, maybe he'll overpredict, and he doesn't, and then I die, so oh well. But yeah, I have Dragon Dance and Z-Splash on that, so I might be coming back to that, see if I can get it off, because +3 attack in one turn is definitely something that Gyarados can take, make some use out of. Anyway, so I'm going to go to my Conkeldurr, and we're just going to get some damage here on the Celesteela. And he is going to go ahead and go for that Leech Seed, which is kind of predictable. If this is a standard Celesteela, then I should actually be able to counter this pretty well with my my Conkeldurr, which is an Assault Vest. Not that it matters because it has no special moves probably on this Celesteela. And I'm going to go ahead and switch out. He already got the Leech Seed, and I'm expecting a Protect here. And there you go. There's the Protect. And yeah, he's just going to obviously try to Leech Seed my Heatran. And I'm going to try to just kill it here. Or no, I go for the Will-O-Wisp predicting a switch maybe. I'm not really sure. But I do get the Will-O-Wisp off on the Celesteela. Although, obviously, that's advantage him. But the residual damage still on the Celesteela isn't a bad thing, and it actually reduces the power of his Heavy Slam, which is probably his one attacking move. But knowing he's probably going to Protect again, I decided to switch out back into my Conkeldurr. And I believe he actually predicts this one, and I think he just goes for a Heavy Slam, which I guess he was predicting something else, because that's really not going to do anything to my Conkeldurr after a burn. So, yeah, obviously, if he predicts Conkeldurr, he'd probably want to do something different, like Leech Seed me again. But yeah, I'm just going to go for the Mach Punch, hoping to take it out at this range, and I do. So some early advantage there for me, although now he's going to go ahead and go into this Tapu Lele. Now, I am expecting Scarf, but Specs isn't completely out of the possibility range. Either way, even with an Assault Vest, I do not want to leave my Conkeldurr in, especially because he might have Psyshock. Now, he does just go for the Psychic, which in the Psychic terrain is obviously an extremely powerful hit, and will 2-hit KO my Heatran, despite the resistance. So there goes one of my Pokemon that can actually take a Psychic hit. So, yeah, that's not really good. So I'm going to go to my own Tapu Lele, which is pretty much the only other one I have. And mine is Scarfed, and yeah, he's going to go ahead and switch out. And he goes out into Smeargle, and I was so close. So freaking close to hitting Moonblast. And I really should have went with my gut and hit Moonblast, but then I was like, well, even if he does predict, even if he does switch out, I'm thinking that maybe he would go out into Arcanine, but he made a pretty damn good play going out into Smeargle, and that caught me off guard. It doesn't affect at all. I have to switch, and that's going to actually give him the opportunity to set up his hazards. So, yeah, he's able to get off the Sticky Web, which is literally one of the worst hazards for me right now, because that means that pretty much everything that he has is now going to be able to outspeed me. Now, I do get into Mega Venusaur here, and that's going to obviously be immune to Spores, the reason I did it, and obviously going to be able to kill the Smeargle. But obviously, getting that Sticky Web up is going to be obviously pretty key as I go into Tapu Lele. He goes back into Tapu Lele, and I have nothing that can come in on a Psychic here and take two, so I have to sack something. and ultimately I decided just to let Mega Venusaur die, and so I can get a save switch back into my Tapu Lele, which I'm still, if his is Scarfed, obviously he's going to be able to outspeed me. It's a speed tie if he specs, and obviously max speed. So yeah, he's just going to go into Arcanine, not wanting to, because he's also locked into Psychic with the resistance. Even in the Psychic Terrain, I should be able to live. So it's a good move, just switching out. And I decided to actually go for the Side Shock to take advantage of the Psychic Terrain myself, thinking that he would switch. Now, this is obviously a physically bulky Arcanine, because he takes that extremely well. And, yeah, that's not even going to be able to get a 2-hit KO, I don't think. So that's an extremely physically bulky Arcanine, as he just takes another one and gets off a hit on me. Now, thankfully, it's a special move, so it doesn't do that much, but he gets the bird, so that's really kind of annoying, because residual damage on my Tapu Lele can definitely, get me killed, especially against his Tapu Lele, which at worst is going to be a speed tie against. So, I was trying to stay in range that he wouldn't be able to kill me with a psychic move either. So, that's pretty hard. So, anyway, he's going to keep going for the flamethrower as I go to my Conkeldurr, and I'm going to get some HP back here with a Drain Punch. I really should have no, I couldn't have went for the Mach Punch, actually, because of the Psychic Terrain, but, yeah, it just gets a minor amount of health back. The Psychic Terrain fades, but obviously he has a perfect opportunity to go back into his own Tapu Lele here, because, yeah, obviously it's hard counters my Conkeldurr. There's really nothing I can do, because obviously he's going to be able to threaten me with the Psychic move. So I'm going to go out into Gengar, and this is really my one chance, because I have absolutely nothing left that can take a Psychic hit. I have to sack something. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to win this, I have to hope that Curse Body activates. And I hate doing this, but hey, there it is, Curse Body. So at the very least, it's going to force him to switch against my Conkeldurr. He can't stay in because he's either Specs or Scarf, one of the two. And he ends up actually being Specs, for your information. But he is a Specs Tapu Lele. You probably should have known that by how much damage he was doing. But yeah, that's going to force him to switch, because if he stays in, he'd just struggle and then die. I decided to go for the Drain Punch, and I really should have went for the Ice Punch, because I was predicting this Garchomp switch in, but I decided to be safe and go for the Drain Punch. I would have been able to kill there with the Ice Punch, but looking back on it, he would have just been able to go back into Tapu Lele anyway. And he ends up actually going for a Z move here, which is an Inferno Overdrive. It's a move that's somewhat popular in Garchomp, to basically get the confirmed hit on Fire Blast, but because I'm an Assault Vest set, it's actually not going to do that much to me at all, so I take this really nicely, and I'm able to kill him. In fact, I think almost certainly would have been able to do more with his Stab Dragon or, ground move that he had. But either way, get the kill on the Garchomp, but, obviously, he's going to be able to go into Greninja now, which is absolutely ridiculous as well in the Psychic Terrain. I have nothing to outspeed this guy. And, yeah, he's just going to, obviously, Protean turn into Hydro Pump. Even with the Assault Vest at this point, Conkeldurr is not able to survive. And my last Pokemon is my own Tapu Lele, which, yeah, is Scarf. So I could actually possibly win this, because his Specs would come down to a speed tie. But, I think I forget what I do, but I do something stupid. He just goes to the Dark Pulse, which actually doesn't kill me, I don't think. So I do live, and I just go for the Psy Shock for some reason. Oh, right, because he was, at the time, a water type, and I should have realized he was going to outspeed me after the... Yeah, I really should have just went for, like, the Moonblast or something, but I guess I wanted to get the bonus damage in the Psychic Terrain. Moonblast would have probably been the best play, because then I would have at least killed the Greninja, and it would have come down to a speed tie, although I don't think the Moonblast would have killed his Tapu Lele. So it doesn't matter, I was pretty much boned at that point anyway. Today's question of the day is... There are still quite a few unused type combinations in Pokemon, especially ones that can provide very interesting, not only a stab combination, but also, defensively very interesting, and very synergetic. As for me, I think the number two, there's two of them that I kind of want. First is, I want a normal ghost type, and that's because, obviously, normal's one weakness is fighting, and obviously ghost, gets rid of that. It only has, actually, one weakness in dark, so obviously a very interesting defensive typing. And my second one is a grass-fire type. And I'm saying that just because I know my buddy Sal always wanted a grass-fire type, and it just boggles my mind there still isn't one. Because you think that at some point you'd have something like that. And while it doesn't have, it actually does have quite a few interesting, nullifications of each other's weaknesses. Like, for example, ground, and of course, negating one of grass's weaknesses is ice, and not to mention fire. So it actually does also sound like some pretty interesting defensive typing. So yeah, leave a comment about that. Not to mention water, because it's neutral to water too. So if it gets defensive stats, it'll actually be pretty good. So leave a comment about that, and see you guys again next time. Later.